Yep. Thank you for being part of the Chelsea chapter. And definitely, we are talking about a few football players today. And the main or center of focus today is none other than Moises Caicedo. And not forgetting that apart from Moises Caicedo, we've also got Romeo Lavia, who is also a wonderful football player. And the club Chelsea is saying that they are definitely going for the pair. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being part of the Chelsea chapter. And please subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you do not miss out on whatever we've got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Chelsea related. Right about here at the Chelsea chapter with me, your very host, Abu Karls, as I'm definitely dedicated to bring to you the latest trade as it comes in. And definitely, two football players are the center of focus today and talking about Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo, with Moises Caicedo being a keen interest, a big interest of Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino putting his big focus on Moises Caicedo, who is an Ecuadorian professional football player and also has been playing for Brighton and Hove. And also the other football player being Romeo Lavia, whose release 60 million pound, but right about now has increased. And Mrs. Caicedo being his release clause was recently 80 million pound, and right about now it's more than 100 million pound. It's big money transfers right about here at the Chelsea chapter with me, your host Abu Gals, as we talking transfers, as we definitely these two deals, they are in focus for the clubs. So we definitely are going to be seeing a lot that is happening right about here at the Chelsea chapter as we follow up everything straight as it comes in. So you'll be remembered that Mauricio Pochettino is one of those managers that always try to deliver wherever he goes, and we should expect nothing but delivery when it comes to Mauricio Pochettino and the club Chelsea. So I will be put to note that Mauricio Pochettino works with a small amount of football players. He does not like big squads, and that's why we've seen major football players leaving the club. Football players like the world's best midfielder that's N'Golo Kante leaving to Saudi Arabia, and there is quite a big fracas with the club players going to leaving for Saudi Arabia. I mean, why? Why all this is definitely happening? I think everybody understands why this is happening because simply because recently, as you already know, a lot was happening, and with the fact that Todd Bowley had spent over 600 million pound in the last two spells. FFP rules were in and knocking, saying you cannot spend more than that. You definitely can't. You've got to get a few football players out of the way. And the club Chelsea was quite understanding and definitely had to do a few deals with Saudi Arabia, and there were links that Chelsea ownership is linked to Saudi Arabia because of the big money deals that were in place. But it definitely comes out that this is nowhere near the truth, and the Premier League rubbishes these allegations. The FA rubbished all these allegations, and now transfer businesses definitely still own transfer businesses quite big right about now. Immediately after these allegations were dismissed. I mean, but if Chelsea is owned by Saudi Arabia, then there is quite a lot of money to spend there. But it is said that the football players that who are leaving the club and football players who are coming back to the club, there is something. There is what Todd Ball is playing, but it could just be a rumor, you know. It could be a rumor. There's always a lot that is talked about when it comes to transfers, and most of which is not true. But right about now, the center of focus being the football player Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo, they're saying is Moises Caicedo worth 100 million pound because his release clause definitely has gone higher than 80 million pound. But Chelsea are definitely saying that that's a big amount of money, and 80 million pound is a bit realistic. Though Chelsea were saying that they're going to get into this transfer and see how things roll. but Chelsea is the leading club that, when it comes to this transfer, Chelsea is the leading club in this transfer because there were a number of parties that needed the football player. Manchester United wanted Moises Caicedo, and Manchester United, then Manchester City was closely linked to Moises Caicedo, and also who else? So it was Arsenal. Arsenal also wanted Moises Caicedo, but Arsenal, with them landing Declan Rice, it's not yet official 100%, but from different sources, it's said that Arsenal are going to land Declan Rice. With them having a defensive midfielder like Declan Rice, I don't think they're going to opt for another midfielder. I think that is definitely out. Manchester United are still looking for a defensive midfielder. So Manchester United, you remember that it has put in a few bids, but they have definitely not got anywhere with this club that is leading into is none other than Chelsea. Mauricio Pochettino wants the football player for the club as soon as possible, and that's why there are rumors going on that the club Chelsea could be signing the football player today. There could be a big possibility that the club Chelsea is going to sign the football player today. So let's wait and see how all this will definitely go. But things, I must say, things are running on quite well for the club Chelsea, as Chelsea is trying its level best to make sure that it can get these signings in place. Get these signings in place, get them done, get the deals done. And that would be a brilliant thing. Mauricio Pochettino is not that manager that's gone away. He's that kind of manager. When he wants something, he definitely goes for it. So we are most likely going to be seeing the football player playing for the club Chelsea and going for go finish. Chelsea is gonna complete this transfer very soon, if not today. But what we got recently was that Chelsea is gonna be getting the football player anytime from now, and it could be today. It could be today. We could be seeing him signing for the club Chelsea. Personal terms shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. There is a small possibility that personal terms could be a problem, but from different sources, again, we know personal terms shouldn't be a problem. He's played in the Premier League, and we already know what he's going to deliver. Everybody knows what Moises Caicedo is going to deliver. When he's played for Chelsea, he's been a brilliant one. He's for Brighton and Hove. It's been a brilliant one, with Brighton and Hove managing to get European champions, European football in a very long time. That never got it before. The fact that they've secured European football and ended in the 60th position in the Premier League last season, definitely that shows you that it's going to be a massive one. It's going to be a brilliant one for the club. Brighton and Hove, but also recently they came out and said they can't manage getting these football players, keeping the football players on, because they are big football players and they're too big for the club, and that's why Moises Caicedo has got to leave and get a few more opportunities elsewhere, and the opportunities with the club Chelsea. Let's wait and see how all this transpires, and once he officially signs for the club Chelsea, I'll be the first person to come live and tell you that, oh yeah, the football player has signed, the player has definitely signed. It's a deal that's done, sealed and completed. You can get into the comment section and let us know what you think about Moises Caicedo and him joining the club Chelsea, as we definitely think that Moises Caicedo is one of those that is going to bring a great change at the club Chelsea. Chelsea didn't finish in the best of positions, and that's why reinforcement is something that they are looking at for a very long time. Changing managers, seeing who is going to do a good job. Mauricio Pochettino will remember that he already got to the club. He's at the club right, but now already he's already had his orders out about who should play, who should not play, who should be sold. And for some reason, one of the football players that he's 100% into is Moises Caicedo. But we can understand Moises Caicedo. We can understand why. Very good defensive midfielder. And his major, Chelsea's major a major signings where they want to sign, positions they want to sign, just want a goalkeeper. With Mauricio Pochettino saying is no social bar as Pichueta, and also Edouard Mendy already leaving the club. Definitely, that shows you there is a loophole that has to be covered. With Manchester United going for a football goalkeeper, Inter Milan international, and also Cameroon international, there is going to be a bit of competition for the football goalkeeper. Andre Onana with Manchester United. Who's going to take Andre Onana? Is it going to be Chelsea or is it going to be Manchester United? So the goalkeeping section is one of those sections that the club Chelsea is looking and get proper reinforcement in that section. And we hope things definitely go on quite well for the club Chelsea in their hand for a but right about now, there is nothing that has been confirmed just as yet when it comes to goalkeeping section. And then also Chelsea is looking for a very good defensive midfielder. I mean, a very good defensive midfielder is what the club needs, a very good one. And right about now, the defensive midfielder that is in position is none other than Moises Caicedo. Big possibility and big chance that Moises Caicedo could end up at the club Chelsea, as it is still said that there is a possibility, there is a chance for Chelsea signing football player today. And if Chelsea signs the football player today, that will be great news. We already know a few football players have been left, and reinforcement is something that has to be done. Despite the fact that there's been a big squad, massive squad at the club Chelsea, most of them are going away, but some definitely need to come. Despite the fact that Mauricio Pochettino wants to work with a tiny squad, he's not willing to work with a tiny squad that has not quality in it. It's tiny but with quality. And looking at who Moises Caicedo is definitely going to be brilliant. If there is a football player to sign at Chelsea, I think it's Moises Caicedo. You shouldn't go for European football players. You don't know what they are going to bring. But if you buy Moises Caicedo, if you secure a deal for Moises Caicedo, you know why you already have. You know, you're 100% sure about why you're getting, because Moises Caicedo has played in the Premier League, and we know how he's played in the Premier League. Brilliant football player. Go get him. Sign the football player. Get it. Get him. Let it be a deal done, sealed, and delivered. And everybody will be happy about it. Then, talking about Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia is one of those that also has been haunted for by a number of clubs, with Liverpool being the big club that is in this transfer. It is struggling with the club Chelsea. Both parties want a football player, but reports that we got recently are that Liverpool reportedly pulled out of this transfer, and we anticipate it's because of it's a big money transfer, and him with the club definitely saying they need more than 60 million pound. He was on 60 million pound, but no more. He was being valued at 60 million pound per because of big demand. Of course, his price has definitely gone quite high. So we're going to see a few more things happening. But Romeo Lavia, who is a Southampton football player, has been playing for Southampton for a bit of time, and right about now is looking at leaving the club Southampton, because I see a football player like him. I know he would have maybe possibly remained at Southampton, but right about now as we speak, there is no chance for Romeo Lavia to remain at Southampton. Southampton definitely ended up in relegation, and he was relegated. It just didn't end up there. It was relegated. It's no go Champions League football. It's no go Premier League football. Nothing. So they've gone to factory settings. They've gone the champions to the championship. Is a championship? Yeah. So they've gone to EFL Championship, yeah. So the fact that they've gone to EFL Championship, definitely, a football player like Romeo Lavia is not going to stay with them. It's not going to stick with them, and that's why clubs are interested in him. Manchester United wants him. Chelsea is saying we definitely are going to sign him, and also Manchester City. He was at Manchester City at some point in time, and City are also looking at ways on signing him. And then also Liverpool saying they need him. Todd Bowley is closely monitoring, but you know how Todd Bowley is. definitely see how things are running, and if Mauricio Pochettino is very interested in the football player, you throw in the cash, and with all these football players that have left for Saudi Arabia, there is a lot of money. There's big money to spend for the club Chelsea in this summer transfer window. Not only are they buy, and buying is buying quality. With the already arrived at the club, are looking at Sofan Kunku, who is a very good one, arrives from RB Leipzig. We anticipate that RB Leipzig is going to perform Chelsea is going to perform quite well for the RB because of the RB Leipzig football player. Who's that? Christopher Nkunku. He's a very good one. And also looking at Nicholas Jackson, who is also a brilliant one. I think also it's going to be a very brilliant one. So Chelsea is still buying few football players. But also, when is this going to end? Proper restructuring is something that the club Chelsea really needs to do. You can't keep on buying young football players. I know Chelsea is saying they're building for the next generation, but nobody's interested in the next generation. I mean, we're living in the current generation. We want to see wins. Nobody's interested in seeing the club losing all the time, losing, that you're just building for the next generation. Next generation, my ass. There's nobody who definitely needs to get that. No one needs to see that club losing every time, all the time. The club is losing games against weak clubs. I mean, this is Chelsea. Chelsea is a club that is not meant to be finishing in the 12th position whatsoever. At a bad season, Chelsea always finishes in the 5th position and no Champions League football, and everybody's fuming. But right about now, no way. I know restructuring could be a good thing, but also you need good football players. You need big players in there, ones that are going to make a big impact, direct impact. I anticipated that Chelsea is going to win the Premier League title maybe 2 years or 3 years from now. But something has to be done this season. We know Chelsea shouldn't be heading for relegation. Because by the look of things, seeing how Chelsea's been playing, I can't get convinced if you tell me that Chelsea is going to head into relegation next season because, I mean, Christopher Nkunku is okay. Nicholas Jackson is another kid. Romeo LAVIA is another kid. Why are you just buying those kids? Chelsea needs a proper football player, already experienced. Actually, not even experienced, an old football player. Needs three old football players, and you sell Kovacic. That was a big mistake. Kovacic was not meant to leave the club Chelsea. No way. You need to get a few football players on, and I think you can see. Manchester City took Kovacic. Why did Manchester City choose to take Kovacic? Because he's a class football player. There's a lot of potential in him, which Chelsea doesn't see. Mason Mount leaves Chelsea. There's something wrong with the club Chelsea. Mason Mount officially signs for Manchester United. He's been at Chelsea now for quite a long period of time, 18 years. But again, that's no excuse of him leaving. Chelsea should have been in a better position of talking him through. But the fact that he doesn't like what's going on at the club, that's what forced him to leave the club. Anyway, let's hope things definitely will go on quite well this time around the coming season, as Chelsea is looking at reinforcement again in different fields to make things much better than the season below. I mean, Chelsea finished in the 12th position. Are they looking at finishing in the 8th position so that they've improved? You need to sign a football player. Go sign Victor Osimhen. Don't go with these young football players who are inexperienced. What Chelsea needs Victor Osimhen, not these young football players. Go for Victor Osimhen. Big name, big football player. Big goals. 31 goals across all competitions for Napoli. That's the sort of football player that the club Chelsea needs. You don't need these kids all the time. No way. They're not going to take you anywhere. You need Victor Osimhen. Go sign Victor Osimhen. He's scored 31 goals. But if you keep on getting young football players, you're not certain. You do not know what's going to happen with these young football players. Nobody knows. You can't buy him at £100 million. Now, let's be honest. Mikhail Mudryk was bought at around £100 million. Right about now, how much is he worth? £100 million, something like that. Okay, let's say he was bought at £90 million. How much is he worth right about now? Depreciation. You're not so sure about the football players, you know. You're not so sure about the future of the football player. I know you can do a few investments, you know, invest in the club and get a few football players, young football players. But experienced football players definitely are needed. And that's what Arsenal did. But for some reason, Todd Bowley does no reason. Arsenal had a very young squad, but they realized that it's a very young squad that needs experience in it. And that's why they performed very well. Arsenal realized that they had a good and talented young squad, which Chelsea has right about now. But they needed Jorginho, and they go to Chelsea, shop Jorginho, and he's definitely doing magic in there. And then they realize it's a young squad that needs Gabriel Jesus in it. Old football player experience. Experience matters. Young football players can deliver, but with the guidance of old football players, you know, you're so confident when you have Jorginho in there. So I don't think buying young football players is going to help. It's not going to help. And I can confirm to you, the football players who are leaving the club Chelsea, they're definitely going to have good seasons. Because Chelsea at this point in time is disorganized. That's how I should call it. Despite the fact that a good manager is in place, Mauricio Pochettino, he's not going to play the football. If you've got a nosy boss, definitely nothing's going to happen. So to be honest, I've got quite a lot to talk about Chelsea, but a lot has to be done. I must say, a lot has to be done. It can't just be getting football players, just young football players. These football players are not going to take you anywhere. No way. There's no chance. I must say, I'm saying it's the reality. There's no chance that. I'm not saying Christopher Nkunku is a bad football player. RB Leipzig football player is good. He's a good football player. But he's not top talent. You know what I mean? He's not top talent. Even when you look at the signings that were made before, they're not top talent. No. In the general transfer window, tell me a football player that has come and impressed. Maybe the Lonnie, Joao Felix. Joao Felix played a bit well, and on rare occasions, he really saw this was a bad squad. He was playing in the wrong squad. He even went forward and made sure that he couldn't even pass the ball to anyone. Make sure that he scores the goal, scores for himself. That's how bad a squad he was in. That's how bad a squad he was in. And he realizes he's in the wrong place. He can't extend his contract. No way. He definitely can't. Not even extending. He was on loan. You know, if you need to keep these football players in, if you need to keep good football players in, okay? Sign football players that are going to give the club hope, you know? Bring Victor Osimhen. Big football player. Bring Victor Osimhen and put him there. Everybody will be like, oh, bring Harry Kane, put him there. But it's just rumored, everybody saying, no, Harry Kane is going to Chelsea. Nothing. Harry Kane is going to go to Chelsea. Harry Kane is signing for Chelsea. It's nothing. It's utter rubbish. He's no signing. He's going to Bayern Munich. That's the sort of football player that you need. It's just being linked. He's going to, not Bayern Munich, he's going to Bayer Leverkusen. It's a shame. First priority shouldn't be Christopher Nkunku. First priority shouldn't be Nicholas Jackson. I know they're good football players, but first priority shouldn't be Jackson, shouldn't be Christopher Nkunku. Being linked to young football players all the time. First choice, first landing should have even been either Moises Caicedo, because they are not Moises Caicedo, sorry, either Harry Kane, and if not Harry Kane, it can be Victor Osimhen. Because look at it this way: how many goals did Chelsea score last season? And who's gonna score for Chelsea this season? Does anybody know who's gonna score for Chelsea this season? Nobody knows. So it's a disappointing season. It's gonna be a disappointing season again if Chelsea do not use this. If Chelsea do not use this opportunity to get the right players in, get experienced football players. I know you're building for the next generation, but you need four young players, 5 okay to the maximum 6. You Somebody will be in the comment section saying they will deliver with time. They will deliver with time. Somebody's saying sound is off. Let me check the sound, then get. Yep. Am I on now? Ooh. I hope I'm on now. Do you remember that Mauricio Pochettino is one of those? Let me check. Let me check if I'm on again. Can anybody get me? Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Salam. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Oni. So, I was still saying and trying to remember. Chelsea definitely needs big football players, needs big names. I know it's not a good idea to have big names in the club. You do not need a big name. You do not need Cristiano Ronaldo in your club. But that's why my sound is off. Sound is getting off. But I think it's on again. Okay. As I was saying before, thank you for being part of this podcast, everybody. So as I was saying before, you do not need a Cristiano Ronaldo in your squad, But at this point in time, I think a club like Chelsea needs Cristiano Ronaldo in it. It needs Kylian Mbappe in it. And Mbappe's big money transfer power. Get him. Get him. And if Chelsea gets a football player like him, it's done. Chelsea needs a big name in there. Massive name in there. These young football players are, to be honest with you, they're not going to take the club Chelsea anywhere. Nowhere. I've got loads of queries about the club Chelsea and whom they are signing. Definitely. Nicholas Jackson. Sorry. Nicholas Jackson. I'm not saying Nicholas Jackson is a bad football player. As a matter of fact, he's okay. He's a good football player. But you can't keep on bringing these young football players. What do you think? You cannot keep on bringing these young football players. You need a solid squad. You need a football player that an opponent is going to look at and is like, how am I going to pass by that football player? You need a football player that's going to scare your opponent. But you've got kids. Chelsea has got kids. And Biggest mistake Chelsea makes, biggest mistake in 100 years. Kalidou Koulibaly out. Why? I don't know what's happening. What's happening with Chelsea? Kalidou Koulibaly out. Jorginho out. Kai Havertz out. All these are experienced football players, you know. Are you bringing, and if they are out, get football players that have got experience like them. But reality is, these football players that you're trying to get in, all of them are young football players. There's no experience in the squad. And Mauricio Pochettino is well known for working with young squad and upbringing. But even then, now, this is time for reality, okay? Let's talk reality. Even then, even when Mauricio Pochettino is at the club Chelsea, and I'm happy he's at the club Chelsea, but the reality, I do not understand who is behind Chelsea's signings. And I do not understand why Mauricio Pochettino is at Chelsea. Chelsea, a club with quite a lot of money that can bring Carlo Ancelotti, though he's going in Brazil. Mauricio Pochettino, sorry to say this, I know you do not want to hear this, but this is the reality. I'm telling you, this is the reality. Mauricio Pochettino is not a trophy winner. He's a club developer. That's the reality. That's the naked truth. Mauricio Pochettino, current manager of Chelsea, he is not a trophy winner. Absolutely no. He's not a trophy winner. He's a club developer. How many trophies has he won? What's wrong with Todd Bowley? What's wrong with Todd Bowley? I cannot understand what's wrong with him. He's got big money. He's got loads and loads of money. Chelsea has got quite a lot of money to get any manager there is. First mistake. Really, I do not understand when it comes to Chelsea. I do not understand. I'm beaten hands down. Thomas Tuchel comes in, and Thomas Tuchel was sacked. Thomas Tuchel was not supposed to even to be sacked. He was the right manager for the club Chelsea in the first place. Chelsea, with the loads and loads of money that it has right about now, Mauricio Pochettino, if he was given, not Mauricio Pochettino, Thomas Tuchel, if Thomas Tuchel was given the money that is being spent now, Chelsea would have won the Premier League last season. I'm telling you, 100%. Signing 100 million players. Absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Thank you everybody who's in the comment section about today. I feel disappointed about the club Chelsea. Whoever runs the business at Chelsea, there is a lot to criticize about. A lot. If Todd Bowley is thinking that, he can build up his squad and later send away the manager again. How many times are you going to send off the managers? How many? Get a proper manager in. I mean, the actual manager who can manage Chelsea, I'll give him to you. Give him those young kids and he will manage them efficiently. And he is available. He's still there. He's out of work. But he's a no-joking subject. You're not going to go into the dressing room and say, this one is playing badly. He will not accept. That manager is none other than Zinedine Zidane. If you bring Zidane to Chelsea, done deal. Give him the money. He'll win the trophies. He'll win Champions League, Premier League, everything there is to win if you give him that amount of money. But put to comparison, the football manager that is right about here at the club Chelsea. Very good football manager, but it wasn't the right choice for the club Chelsea. Chelsea has loads of money flying over. Loads. They are able to get anybody they want. Chelsea can get anybody they want. But with this amount of money flying in everywhere, the club Chelsea definitely, it's disappointing, I must say. Very disappointing. And looking at the football players that are already there, looking at MOISES CAICEDO, who's coming. MOISES CAICEDO is a very good one, very wonderful one. And reason why he's played in the Premier League, why I give him a tick, why I give MOISES CAICEDO a tick. He's played in the Premier League. He knows how it runs. He definitely knows, and he's impressed in the Premier League. Not like getting someone from the Bundesliga, bringing him, still young. If you're bringing someone from the Bundesliga, bring an old football player, bring an expert. He will be knowing what he's doing. And history has proved itself that those young football players who always move from leagues in Europe and come to the Premier League, they always struggle. Always. Apart from a few exceptions. But this is not a time. This is not a time where the club Chelsea should be going into exceptions. Like looking for exceptions. You need to go for reality rather than an exception. Because you do not know whether it's going to be an exception or it's going to be rubbish. Salam is asking, what is the latest about MOISES CAICEDO? MOISES CAICEDO, his deal, you will remember that before it was at £80 million, and the club Chelsea has been trying to make sure that they can land him by fair means of all, get the deal done for at around that amount of money. But the demand has been high, and it's skyrocketed to something like £100 million. But the question is he worth £100 million? Should Chelsea throw £100 million to MOISES CAICEDO, despite the fact that he's a brilliant football player? I'm getting Simon. Simon, I think Simon has got a great point right about here. I need to read it. I need to read what Simon has said because it's a big point here. Are you sure you watched them last season? Most of them underperformed. You are simply against everything the body's doing. Maybe they should go and rehire Potter because he is a trophy winner. How many which trophies did Potter win? Simon, let's get into this.